Before Jesus died, he made a confession that shocked the world. A secret so powerful it would go unnoticed by most, but resonate deeply with anyone who truly understands his purpose. He didn't just die. He chose to die in a way that would change everything. The world was blind to it then, but in heaven, they were celebrating. What if I told you that Jesus' life wasn't random? That every second of his 33 years was designed with a divine purpose so grand it would echo through eternity? Why did Jesus live only 33 years? The answer is more complex, more profound than you think. It wasn't a tragedy, nor a mistake. His death at 33 wasn't some untimely end. It was the fulfillment of a divine plan. The question isn't why he only lived for 33 years, but how such a short life could transform the entire world. In these few years, he turned every second into a moment of eternal value. And those 33 years, they were carefully timed, a masterpiece of divine intention that changed the course of history. His life, his message, his sacrifice, every piece was perfectly placed. In this video, we're uncovering the most profound truths about Jesus' life and death. You'll learn how his 33 years weren't just a countdown to his death, but the perfect expression of divine purpose. You'll see that his time on earth wasn't short. It was exactly what the world needed. Every breath he took, every word he spoke, every miracle he performed was a direct message for humanity. We'll dive deep into the significance of his 33 years, exploring why he didn't need more time and how his short life still impacts us today. Let this video open your eyes to the divine orchestration behind his life and death, and remind you that your time here, no matter how long or short, is also part of a larger, beautiful plan. You were created for a purpose just as Jesus was, and when you live with the same focus, your life can leave a lasting legacy. Watch closely, because this is not just history. This is the timeless truth that will awaken your own purpose. The moment Jesus came into the world, everything changed. A new dawn broke open, but no one fully understood the magnitude of his coming. His life wasn't just another story, it was the story that would forever alter the course of humanity. 33 years. That's all the time Jesus had on earth. But with every passing moment, he turned the world upside down. He wasn't just existing. He was living with a purpose so profound, it would leave the world shaken and changed forever. And he knew this wasn't just a journey toward his death. It was a mission to awaken something deeper within us all. Why 33? Why did Jesus' life come to an end at this precise age? Some may wonder, why not 40 or 50? The answer is simple. 33 was the exact moment when everything Jesus came to do would be perfectly fulfilled. Every second of his life had a purpose, and every action, every word, was divinely timed to bring about the greatest act of love the world has ever known. It was not about how long he lived, but about how he chose to live. Jesus didn't wait, he didn't hesitate. He understood that the mission needed to be completed in this precise time, this exact moment. And that is a reminder for us all, time is precious. And what we do with the moments we have is what matters most. But how does this relate to us today? How can we understand the importance of 33 years, the life Jesus lived, and apply that meaning to our own lives? When you think about it, every moment is a divine opportunity. What if we lived each second with the same urgency and purpose that Jesus did? His 33 years weren't wasted. They were full of meaning, impact, and love. Jesus didn't spend time on the trivial, the fleeting. He went straight to the heart of what mattered. Love, truth, sacrifice. He didn't rush, yet he achieved more in his brief time than any of us could in a lifetime. So why do we rush through our own lives? What if, just like Jesus, we could use every moment to bring about something greater, something eternal? What if we could stop wasting time on the temporary distractions of this world and start focusing on what truly matters. Living with intention, living for purpose. This is the challenge. This is the invitation. Because the truth is, Jesus' life, his purpose, was not just for then, it's for now. It's for you. The divine blueprint for his life is not just a historical event. It's a blueprint for how we should live today. His 33 years weren't just a story for us to admire. They were an example for us to follow. When we understand that every moment counts, every second has purpose, we begin to see the world in a new light. Imagine how different your life would be if you took every opportunity, every action, every conversation with the weight of divine purpose behind it. That's what Jesus did, and that's what we're called to do. Not just to exist, not just to get by, but to live with the fullness of the divine purpose that each of us is destined for. We don't need 40 or 50 years to make a difference. We need to be intentional with the time we have and use every moment to bring light into the darkness. So what are you waiting for? Time is moving. We can't afford to waste another minute. Like Jesus, we have a divine calling, a divine mission. It's time to wake up, to step into that purpose, and live the life we were meant to live. Bold, courageous, and full of love. Now let's talk about the most powerful part of Jesus' life. The reason he came, the reason he lived, the reason he died. Jesus didn't just die. He sacrificed himself for you and me. That moment, when he chose to lay down his life, was more than an act of love. It was the fulfillment of the greatest prophecy, the greatest promise, the greatest love story the world has ever known. When Jesus died, he wasn't just taking the weight of sin on himself, he was changing the course of history. His death didn't signify an end, it was the beginning of something far more powerful. Jesus' death was the ultimate sacrifice that would provide the path to salvation, and his resurrection would prove that no power on earth could defeat the love of God. Jesus didn't just give us his life, he gave us eternal life. He showed us that no matter how dark the world becomes, no matter how deep the pain goes, his love is stronger. His resurrection is our victory. Jesus' resurrection wasn't just for him, it was for all of us. It's the divine reminder that no matter how many times we fall, we can always rise again. No matter how deep we are buried in our mistakes or sins, we can always come out of that grave just as Jesus did. He didn't stay dead, he conquered death, and that power is available to each of us. We are all living with the potential to rise, to break free from the chains that hold us back, and to live the life we were always meant to live. The resurrection isn't just about looking back at Jesus' victory. It's about looking forward to the victory that awaits all of us. But the question is, are we ready to rise? Are we ready to leave behind the death of our old selves and step into the new life he offers us? If Jesus could conquer the grave, what's stopping us from conquering our own obstacles, our fears, our doubts, our struggles? It's time to stop letting life pass us by. It's time to live with that same power, that same purpose, that same divine energy that Jesus showed us in his 33 years. You are meant for greatness. You are meant to make a difference. It's time to live like it. Jesus didn't wait. He didn't hesitate. And neither should you. Your 33 years, your moments, your life, it can change the world too. The question is, how will you use it? Every second counts. Make it count. The sacrifice of Jesus, the ultimate gift of love. Think about this for a second. The King of Kings, the creator of the universe, the one who holds all power, chose to give it all up. He gave up his comfort, his safety, his position, all for one reason: you. Jesus didn't just die for us out of obligation. He died because of an unimaginable love that surpassed everything. The weight of the world was on his shoulders, and he didn't flinch. He chose to be the sacrifice, to take the pain, to bear the weight of every single mistake and sin ever committed for you. No one else could do what he did. No one else was qualified. No one else had the power, the heart, or the love to bear the sins of the entire world. When we talk about the sacrifice of Jesus, we're not just talking about a moment in history. We're talking about a divine movement. A movement that didn't start in a palace, but in the dark, cold reality of a cross, where Jesus hung in agony to give us the greatest gift, salvation. That's what makes his sacrifice so powerful. It wasn't forced, it wasn't accidental, it was intentional. He knew exactly what he was doing, and he chose it. Imagine the courage, imagine the strength to be completely divine, and yet to take on all of humanity's sin. Think about how much of that pain he took for us. He didn't have to, but he did. He didn't hold back. He didn't save himself. He didn't hesitate. He sacrificed it all. Why? Because love. A love so great that it wouldn't stop until every single soul had a chance at redemption. And here's the thing. Jesus didn't just die to die. He died for a greater purpose. The moment he laid down his life, he opened the gates to eternity. His sacrifice was the key, and through him, we now have the chance to live forever, to be set free from the bondage of sin. There's no greater gift than this. But the real question is, are we ready to live in light of this love? Are we living with the same passion, the same sacrifice, the same commitment that Jesus showed in his final hours? The resurrection, the victory over death. Now, let's talk about the moment that changed everything. The moment Jesus didn't just die, but conquered death itself. When Jesus rose from the grave, he didn't just come back to life. He broke the chains of sin and death forever. In that moment, he proved that no power on earth, no force in hell, could ever defeat the power of God's love. Think about the significance of the resurrection. Jesus didn't rise from the dead as some miracle for show. He rose because he wanted to show us something far greater. He wanted to show us that no matter how dark our circumstances get, no matter how impossible things seem, there is always hope. The resurrection wasn't just about proving Jesus was the Son of God. It was a message to all of humanity. There is always a way out. There is always light after the darkest moments. Jesus' resurrection is the ultimate victory. It's the victory over fear, over pain, over suffering, over death itself. It tells us that nothing is stronger than the love of God. Imagine for a moment, if the one who created everything, the one who holds all power, could conquer death, then what's stopping us from conquering our fears, our struggles, our doubts? The same power that raised Jesus from the dead is available to us. That's the message we're given in the resurrection. No matter what comes against us, God's power is greater. But here's the kicker. Resurrection isn't just about what happened to Jesus. It's about what happens to you. Jesus didn't just rise to show off. He rose to show us that we too can rise. We can rise above our circumstances, above our struggles, above everything that tries to hold us down. The resurrection is about new life. It's about becoming who God has always meant for us to be. So I'm asking you, are you ready to rise? Are you ready to leave behind your past, your pain, your mistakes? Jesus showed us that no matter how far you've fallen, no matter how broken you feel, you can rise again. But it starts with believing in the power of the resurrection, and it starts with you deciding to get up and step into the new life God has prepared for you. Living with purpose, the call to action. Jesus didn't just live for the sake of living. He lived with purpose. His every step was taken with intentionality, his every word with power, his every act a reflection of God's perfect plan. And now we are called to do the same. Life isn't about being passive or waiting for something to happen. It's about living with clarity, living with purpose, and living for something greater than ourselves. Just as Jesus didn't waste a single moment, we too are called to make every moment count. Your life has meaning, your life has purpose, and every single moment you have can be used to make an eternal impact. But it starts with one thing: living in alignment with God's plan. It's about understanding that every choice you make, every action you take, should reflect the love and the grace you've received through Jesus. The challenge is simple: live with purpose. Live with the knowledge that your life can change the world. Jesus showed us that a life lived with passion, with purpose, with love, can change everything. It's time we step into that same calling. You don't have to wait for some grand moment to start living with purpose. Right now, you have the chance to make a difference. Right now, you can choose to live with the same clarity and commitment that Jesus did. His 33 years weren't just a story. They were a blueprint for how we should live. So I'm challenging you. Don't wait. Don't wait for the right moment. Don't wait for the perfect time. The time is now. Live like Jesus did, fully, passionately, with purpose. Your life is a gift, and it's up to you to use every moment to bring light into the darkness, to bring love to the broken, and to live with the same power that Jesus showed us. Your time is now. Will you step up and live with the same power and purpose that Jesus did? Let's make every moment count. The eternal kingdom. Jesus' legacy lives on. When Jesus walked the earth, he wasn't just a man. He was the very embodiment of God's love and power. His message was clear, his actions were purposeful, and his mission was divinely orchestrated to change the course of history. But when he died, something profound happened. The world thought his life was over, but in reality, that's when the real story began. His kingdom wasn't a physical one, built with bricks and walls. It was a kingdom of the heart, a realm where love, grace, and redemption reign. Jesus showed us that the true measure of a king isn't in the size of his army or the wealth of his land, but in his ability to transform hearts, to bring people out of darkness and into the light. That's the power of the kingdom he established, a kingdom that will never end. Imagine this: Jesus, in all his glory, didn't need to create an empire to prove his power. He chose to establish his kingdom in the hearts of men and women. He didn't conquer cities with swords, he conquered souls with love. His reign isn't defined by time, and it isn't limited by borders. He is an eternal king, and his kingdom is the one that will outlast all others. That's the legacy he left behind, a kingdom that continues to expand every day as we, the people of his kingdom, live out his truth and love. But here's the catch. Jesus didn't leave us here to just admire his kingdom. He left us with the responsibility to carry it forward. His kingdom is built on our actions, our love, and our commitment to living according to his teachings. We are the bearers of his legacy, the ones who continue to spread his light and truth across the world. The question is, are we living up to that calling? Are we advancing his kingdom with the same fervor that he showed when he walked the earth? The resurrection. Death wasn't the end, it was the beginning. When Jesus rose from the dead, it was more than just a miracle. It was the moment that defeated the power of death itself. For centuries, death had been the final barrier, the thing that separated humanity from God. But Jesus' resurrection shattered that barrier once and for all. His victory over death proved that no matter what we face, no matter how dark the circumstances, there is always hope. This wasn't just a display of power, it was a message of hope for all of us. Jesus didn't just rise from the dead, he made a way for us to rise with him. His resurrection opened the door to eternal life, a life that goes beyond this world, beyond the limits of time and space. The resurrection is a promise to us all that no matter how dark our struggles may seem, there is always light on the other side. Jesus showed us that we can overcome anything when we trust in God's plan. Imagine for a moment you're standing in front of a grave, facing the impossible, staring down the darkness that life sometimes throws at you. But then you remember, Jesus conquered death, and because he did, so can we. The resurrection is more than just a theological concept. It's a life-altering truth. It means that no matter how many times we fall, no matter how many mistakes we make, we can always rise again. That's the power of the resurrection. It's the power to overcome, to start fresh, to live a new life. It's the ultimate victory, and it's available to all of us. Jesus didn't just conquer death for himself. He did it for all of us. He rose to show us that we too can rise above our fears, our failures, and our doubts. The resurrection is a reminder that death doesn't have the final say. When we trust in God's power, we can rise above anything that comes our way. Living with purpose. Answering the call to live like Jesus. Jesus' life wasn't about being comfortable or seeking fame. It was about fulfilling his divine mission, living with purpose, and loving with a depth that transformed the world. And that's the challenge he left us with, to live with purpose, to love with that same intensity, and to make every moment count. When Jesus walked this earth, he didn't wait for the perfect moment to do something great. He didn't wait for the right circumstances or for everything to be aligned perfectly. He saw every moment as an opportunity to make a difference. And that's the key to living like Jesus, seeing every moment as a divine opportunity. Whether he was healing the sick, teaching the masses, or having intimate conversations with his disciples, every action was intentional, every word was chosen with purpose. So why don't we live the same way? We get caught up in waiting for the perfect moment. We hesitate, we procrastinate, and we let fear hold us back. But Jesus didn't let anything hold him back. He lived boldly, courageously, and with a purpose that was bigger than himself. And we are called to do the same. Imagine if you woke up every morning with that kind of purpose. Imagine looking at every challenge, every opportunity, as a chance to make a difference. Jesus didn't wait for the world to change on its own. He went out and changed it himself. And he calls us to do the same. We are meant to live with that same fire, that same passion, and that same sense of purpose. The world is waiting for us to rise up and live the way Jesus did. To love fearlessly, to serve selflessly, and to live fully. We don't have to wait for everything to be perfect. We just need to start living with purpose today. The mission hasn't ended. Jesus is still calling us to live out his legacy, to carry the torch, and to continue building his kingdom on earth. The question is, will you answer the call? Will you live with the same clarity and intention that Jesus did? It's time to stop waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is now. Live with purpose. Live with intention. Live with the same love, the same boldness, and the same power that Jesus showed the world. Your life has meaning, and it's time to make every moment count. Jesus showed us how. Now it's our turn to follow his lead and make the world a better place. Jesus didn't just come into this world, he invaded it. With every step he took, every word he spoke, he was challenging everything we thought we knew about life, love, and what it truly means to be human. His life wasn't just another story. It was the story, the one that would change everything for everyone, forever. And when he died, when he sacrificed himself on that cross, he didn't just die a tragic death. He gave us life. We often think of Jesus as the Savior. But what if I told you his life was more than that? What if I told you that every single second he lived, from his birth to his final breath, was a perfectly planned act of divine love? That his life, short as it was, contained all the wisdom, love, and grace we would ever need to understand God's heart. Every action, every word, every healing, and every miracle was a message to us all, showing us how to live, how to love, and how to walk in the divine purpose that God has laid out for each of us. But here's the thing. Jesus didn't just die on that cross for us to admire him from a distance. He didn't sacrifice himself so we could look back and say, "Wow, he was incredible." He died so that we could live like him. He gave his life so that we could understand what it means to live fully, to love fully, to serve fully. Jesus' life wasn't about being perfect. It was about living in perfect alignment with God's will and showing us that we too can live that way. And here's where it gets even more powerful. Jesus' resurrection wasn't just a miracle. It was a promise. It was the key to unlocking the potential in all of us. It's not about the fact that he rose from the dead. It's about the power that's available to each and every one of us because of it. The same resurrection power that brought Jesus back to life is the same power that can bring life to every part of us that feels dead, broken, or hopeless. When Jesus rose from the dead, he was showing us that death, fear, and failure don't have the final say, that no matter what we face, no matter how impossible the situation seems, there is always hope, there is always a way out, there is always life because of what he did. But let's not stop there. What are we doing with this power? How are we using it? Jesus didn't give us his power so we could sit back and relax. He gave it to us so we could live out our divine purpose, so we could spread his love, and so we could continue his work here on earth. We are the hands and feet of Jesus. The time is now. Our purpose is not to wait for the perfect moment. Jesus didn't wait for the perfect moment to start his ministry. He didn't wait for the world to be ready. He stepped into it with courage, with passion, and with love. That's what we're called to do, to step into our purpose now. If you're feeling lost, if you're unsure about your own path, know this. You were created for a purpose. Just as Jesus stepped into his, it's time for you to step into yours. The world needs your light. The world needs the unique gifts that only you can offer. Every moment counts. Every second you waste not living fully is a second you'll never get back. But it's not too late. You can still make a difference. You can still live with purpose. You can still be the change the world needs. Jesus didn't wait. He didn't hesitate. And neither should we. We have the power of the resurrection on our side. We have the love of God guiding us. The world is waiting for us to rise, to live boldly, to love unconditionally, and to change the world one step at a time. If this video has spoken to your heart, if it's inspired you to step into your purpose, then let's keep this momentum going. Hit that like button. If you believe in the power of living with purpose, subscribe to join this movement, because together we can change the world. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, and leave a comment below telling us how you plan to live with purpose today. Let's make every moment count. Let's rise together. Your support means everything. The energy, the passion, and the love that you give by liking, commenting, and subscribing fuels this message. If this video has touched you, if it's given you a spark of hope, I ask that you consider showing some support, no matter how small. It allows me to continue creating these messages that can bring light to those who need it most. Thank you, from the depths of my heart, for being part of this community. You are not alone in this journey. Together we can make a difference. Together we can live out the power of resurrection, just as Jesus did.